Jerusalem. 63 years before Christ. A Roman general stands at a curtain. Behind it is the most forbidden room on earth, the Holy of Holies. One man may enter, once a year, and only in fear. Pompey is not that man. He is a conqueror, and conquerors take what they want. He pushes the veil aside. He expects a throne, a statue, the God of the Jews. He steps in, and there is nothing, an empty room, no idol, no image, no gold. Rome would talk about it for 100 years, because at the center of the world's strangest religion, in the room built to hold God himself, there was only space. But it was not always empty. Something had stood there, once. The most sacred object ever made, a golden chest, a throne without a king, the Ark of the Covenant. And somewhere between Solomon and Pompey, it vanished. So, one question. Where is the Ark? Before we hunt for it, we should know what we are hunting. The Ark was a chest, wood and gold, no larger than a household trunk. Inside it, the 2 stone tablets from Sinai, the 10 words. On its lid, 2 golden angels faced each other, and the space between their wings was called the mercy seat, the one place where heaven touched earth. It was not a good luck charm. But Israel carried it into battle. They believed God's own throne went before them. When it was near, the ground felt holy. When it was mishandled, men died. This was the most dangerous, most precious thing they owned. Now, the high point of its life. Around 950 BC, King Solomon finishes the temple. The priests carry the ark into the inner room. They set it beneath 2 great golden angels, wings touching wings. And the writer records one small, strange detail. The carrying poles were too long. Their tips pushed against the veil from inside. You could see them press the curtain, faintly. And then the line that dates the whole story. It comes from 1 Kings 8, and they are there to this day. To this day. Someone wrote that, while the ark was still there. An eyewitness, standing in the temple, watching the curtain move. That is the peak. After it, the ark begins to disappear from its own book, barely mentioned for 300 years. And then, one last time, it surfaces. Around 622 BC, King Josiah. He tells the Levites, "Put the holy ark in the house Solomon built." Put it back, which means it was out of place. Somewhere in the reigns of bad kings, the ark had been moved. Josiah wants it home. And that is the last time. The final sentence in the entire Bible where the ark is a real object you can lift and carry. After Josiah, silence. Then comes the fire. 586 BC. Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar's army breaks the walls. They burn the temple to the ground. And Babylon keeps records. 2 lists survive. They are almost cruel in their detail. They count the bronze pillars. They count the great bronze basin. They count the pots, the shovels, the wick trimmers, the spoons, every cup, every dish. The scribes miss nothing, except one thing: the ark. The single most valuable, most holy object in the nation is not on the list, not seized, not broken, not carried to Babylon, just absent. 50 years later, Persia lets the exiles go home. Cyrus hands back the temple treasure. 5,400 pieces of gold and silver, counted again to the last item. The ark is not among them. Historians call this the argument from silence. And it is simple. If Babylon had captured the throne of Israel's God, they would have written it in fire and pride. It would have been the trophy of the age. Its silence means one of 2 things. Either the ark was gone before the soldiers arrived, or it no longer existed as a golden chest to seize. Either way, by 586, it was not there. So where did it go? For 25 centuries, people have offered answers. Let us walk through them. Theory 1. The simplest and the saddest. It was destroyed. Most historians believe this. Remember what the Ark actually was: a wooden box, wrapped in thin gold. To a soldier, that is not a holy throne. That is gold to peel off and melt. The Bible even says the Babylonians cut in pieces the gold objects of the temple. The wood burns. The gold becomes coins. Think of it from Babylon's side. They did not see a relic. They saw raw material. Gold does not stay in a chest. It becomes coin and crown and tribute. The most sacred object in history melted into an empire's economy, and no one thought to write its name. No cave, no secret, just fire. It is the answer scholars find most likely, and the one almost no one wants to hear. Theory 2. It was hidden. This is the answer of legend, and it comes in 3 forms. The first, a prophet on a mountain. A late book, 2nd Maccabees, tells it. Jeremiah, warned by God, takes the ark up Mount Nebo, the peak where Moses died, looking at a land he would never enter. Jeremiah hides it in a cave, seals the door, and says no one will find it until God gathers his people again. It is a beautiful story. It is almost certainly not history, because the real Jeremiah was locked in a prison courtyard during the siege, then dragged to Egypt against his will. He never crossed the Jordan. He could not have carried anything to Nebo. The story was written 400 years later to comfort a people who had lost their holy things. A promise that the ark was not stolen, just kept by God. The second form of hiding, underground. The rabbis taught that the ark never left Jerusalem at all, that King Josiah, seeing the end coming, lowered it into secret chambers beneath the Temple Mount. Deep tunnels, dug by Solomon himself for exactly this day. And there it waits, under the mountain, under our feet. One old story says a priest once found the loose paving stone. He turned to call out the location and fell still before he could speak. The secret, protected, even from the man who found it. The third form of hiding wears metal. Among the Dead Sea Scrolls, the library in the cliffs, there is one scroll made not of parchment, but of copper. It lists 64 hiding places, tons of gold and silver. Treasure hunters read it as a map to the ark, but scholars read the actual text. It never mentions the ark, not once. It is a temple inventory, not a treasure map. The ark is something we bring to the copper scroll. It was never written there. Theory 3. It went to Africa. This is the boldest claim of all, and millions believe it to this day. In the highlands of Ethiopia, in the city of Axum, stands a small chapel with a green dome. Inside, the Ethiopian church says, is the real ark. Their national epic, the Kebra Nagast, the Glory of Kings, tells how the Queen of Sheba came to Solomon, and how she bore his son, Menelik. How that son, grown, came to Jerusalem, and left carrying the ark home to Africa. Not stolen, they say. Chosen. God moved his glory to Ethiopia. One monk guards the chapel. He is chosen for his purity. And once chosen, he never leaves. Not for the rest of his life. No one else may enter. Not a bishop, not a king. He tends it and burns incense and prays until he dies. And here the historian hits a wall because a secret no one can examine can never be proven, and never disproven. But 2 scholars got closer than most. Edward Ullendorff was a professor at the University of London, one of the great experts on Ethiopia. During the war, in 1941, he says he got inside. He looked at the object with his own eyes. His verdict was blunt. They have a wooden box, but it's empty. Medieval, he said. made to be venerated, not ancient. The archaeologist Stuart Munro-Hay spent his life on Axum. He traced every record, every inscription, every coin. His conclusion: the story is real, but it is a story. Built in the 14th century to crown a new dynasty, to make Ethiopia a chosen nation. And it worked. It shaped an empire for 700 years. The writer Graham Hancock made the claim famous. His book sold around the world. But the earliest Ethiopian records mention no Solomon, no Sheba, no Ark. A silence 2,000 years wide sits between Solomon and the day the story first appears. So, destroyed, hidden, carried away. We have searched the fire, the tunnels, the mountain, the chapel. And we keep asking the same question. Where is the Ark? But maybe we have been asking the wrong question all along. Because the Bible itself already answered it. And the answer was not a place. Go back to Jeremiah. The same prophet the legends send up the mountain. Listen to what he actually said before the temple fell. He said a day is coming when people will no longer say the Ark of the Covenant. They will not speak of it. It will not come to mind. It will not be remembered. It will not be missed. And it will never be made again. Read that again. Slowly. It will not be missed. That is not the voice of a nation that lost its treasure. That is a nation being told to let it go on purpose. Jeremiah does not mourn the Ark. He retires it. He says the throne of God will no longer be a golden box. It will be the whole city. Then all nations. And finally, written not on stone tablets inside a chest, but on human hearts, the new covenant. The container was always temporary. It was teaching a lesson it was built to outgrow, which brings us back to the empty room. To Pompey, standing in the silence, confused. He thought he had found nothing. He had actually found the whole point. Rome expected a statue, because Rome kept its gods in boxes. Israel's God would not stay in one. When the second temple was rebuilt, they did not make a new ark. Jeremiah had forbidden it. So the holiest room on earth was left bare. Only bedrock, a single stone. Think about that ritual, the most solemn moment in the Jewish year. The one day the high priest entered, and he performed it toward an empty space. Blood flung into the air above a bare rock where the throne used to be. Worship aimed at absence, and it still counted because the presence had never lived in the gold. It only ever rested there. The Romans wrote it down, bewildered. Tacitus, an empty seat and secret rooms holding nothing. When Titus finally sacked Jerusalem, his soldiers carved their loot into a victory arch in Rome. The lampstand, the table, the trumpets. It is still there. You can see it today, and the ark is not on it, because there was nothing to carry. The book of Hebrews says the golden ark was only ever a shadow, a model, pointing past itself. And in the very last book, John looks into heaven and sees the ark, whole, safe, never lost, never in a cave, never under a mountain, never in a chapel. Home. So where is the ark? Perhaps the honest answer is the one Scripture keeps giving. It was never meant to be found. The empty room was not a failure. It was the message. God will not be kept in a box. But there is one more room to talk about. Centuries later, a great rabbi named Akiva looked at the whole Hebrew Bible and pointed to a single small book. He said, "All the scriptures are holy, but this one is the Holy of Holies." It was not about the temple. It was not about the law. It was a love song, a woman and a man, desire, longing, a garden, a book that never once names God, a book that almost did not make it in. They call her the Shulamite, and no one is quite sure who she is. Why did a love poem become scripture? What is it really saying? And why did the rabbis guard it like the holiest room of all? That is where we go next.